Harry's Wife, Part 104.26. Pity Play. Not nasty to my Nemesis. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. An article from Newsweek by the pro-Harry's Wife, Jack Royston, gives us an opportunity to see two aspects of the narcissistic dynamic in action. Firstly, the emotional empathy that is exhibited by Princess of Wales, Catherine, and also the way that Harry's wife engages in some whataboutism as part of a pity play by basically saying, through another mouthpiece, Newsweek, she's done the same as me, but nobody lambasts her. Why do you all pick on me? Why? You're so hateful, so horrible. Why do you pick on me when she has done similar to me? Well, let's examine the article to find out more about what's going on there and, of course, explain it vis-a-vis narcissism. The article leads with the headline, Kate Middleton backed Harry's wife over much criticised Uvalde visit, Buck. Kate Middleton understood why Harry's wife would feel compelled to visit Uvalde, Texas, after the Robb Elementary School shooting, according to a biography. The Duchess of Sussex was criticised in the media and by her half-brother Thomas Markle Jr. for a PR stunt after she was photographed laying flowers for victims. See parts passing where I explain why a narcissist would turn up this event, how this was so obviously linked to the prime aims, and why she was rightly and justifiably criticised for it. Returning to the article. However, the Princess of Wales had herself made a similar effort to express support for a woman murdered by a police officer in London. Only Kate was not criticised in the same way for doing it, according to author Christopher Anderson. So, first of all, this article is basically saying Catherine gets favourable treatment compared to Harry's wife. She does something similar to Harry's wife. When Harry's wife does it, you all jump on her and criticise her. But when Catherine does something similar, well, actually, you don't criticise her. And that just demonstrates that you're all bigoted, racist haters who've got it in for Harry's wife because you treat her differently to the way that you treat Catherine. First of all, we have to ask ourselves, is this, however, a like-for-like comparison? And the short answer is no. Here's why. Let's take some reportage that came from this occurrence where the Duchess of Cambridge, as she then once was, paid tribute to Sarah Everard, a lady who'd been murdered. This was reported in Cosmopolitan back in March 2021. Kate Middleton took to London's Clapham Common this weekend to pay her respects to Sarah Everard, who went missing while walking home on March the 3rd and was later found dead. Carrying flowers reportedly picked from her own garden at Kensington Palace, the Duchess of Cambridge, as was, joined mourners on Saturday morning. The Duchess, who visited alone and was without any obvious security, blended in with members of the public as she took a few moments of silence at the memorial and read through the cards left by others paying tribute to the 33-year-old marketing executive. A royal source close to the Duchess revealed to the Mirror that the Duchess decided to make a private visit after being horrified by Sarah's tragic murder. She remembers what it is like to walk alone as a young woman in London and elsewhere, and like so many other women has been thinking deeply about her experiences walking alone at night. The Duchess was caught on camera by fellow mourners who spotted her amongst the crowd. They took to social media to share their views on the royal's appearance at the memorial. Now contrast that, where she has turned up without security, she's turned up not dressed to the nines, she's turned up without an entourage, with the way that Harry's wife behaved. When she turned up at Uvalde, she had security. When she turned up at Uvalde, she had photographers and it looked like a film crew, not Netflix apparently, but a film crew following her. There was a big deal made of going there She quickly whisked up and down the memorials and then departed. Furthermore, with the then Duchess of Cambridge, she didn't attempt to go to the school, she didn't attempt to go to a hospital, and she didn't dole out vending machine sandwiches and then pretend that she'd given more to those who were volunteering and helping out with the response to the massacre. So first of all, to suggest that Catherine wasn't criticised for turning up at an event that she wasn't personally connected to in the same way that Harry's wife was, is not a like-for-like comparison, because Catherine turned up in the capacity of thinking about, it could have been me. I was once a young woman that walked around on her own at night, and that's what's happened here, and that's touched me. I turn up in private capacity. I'm not turning up as the Duchess of Cambridge. I'm turning up as Kate Middleton. And I'm not turning up with anybody recording the event for whatever purpose it's required. I'm just turning up to pay my respects. You contrast that with Harry's wife, who turned up, of course, with a media circus surrounding her. So first of all, it's not a like-for-like comparison. Furthermore, that means that the criticisms that were levelled at Harry's wife are different, are based upon essentially a different set of events. Yes, they've both turned up at a tragedy, but their behaviour is different. And therefore, that's why, or part of the reason why Catherine was not criticised, whereas Harry's wife was. There's also this. Harry's wife isn't popular. Catherine is. Yes, Harry's wife has her supporters, but she has far more people who are indifferent to her or just really don't like her behaviour. With Catherine, there are some who are indifferent to her. She has her haters, undoubtedly, those lunatics that pelt her on social media. But a lot of people are well disposed towards her, for reasons that I don't need to go into. Accordingly, she's afforded different treatment because she's liked, whereas Harry's wife isn't liked. But why is Harry's wife not liked? Is it just a random dislike of her? No. Is it based on her skin colour? No. Is it based on the fact that she's a woman? No. Not that it would be relevant here because they're both women. She's disliked because of the way that she's behaved and continues to behave. Furthermore, many of you who are in the know as a consequence of my work recognise that when Catherine turns up as an empathic individual, she's not doing it for her purposes. She's doing it as an expression of her emotional empathy for the murdered woman, and they're contemplating her own private thoughts about the matter. Whereas Harry's wife turns up, why? For the subconscious prime aims. She's there to control people by triangulating them with this tragedy. She's there to draw fuel from people's responses to her turning up, good and bad. She is there to manage that facade, to say, look, I am a kind and empathic person. I truly do care because I've turned up at Uvalde, and then spins it out by saying, I'm a mother too, to provide some level of justification for her attendance, despite the fact that she has no connection whatsoever to Uvalde. Furthermore, there's a residual benefit of money, because the photographs and the footage that were taken may well be used in some capacity in documentaries and selling to magazines and so on and so forth. So many people criticise Harry's wife because, one, they just don't like her because of the way she behaves, and two, they know why she has turned up, and it's nothing to do with altruistic and empathic reasons. Hence, she gets a different reaction to that of Kate. Accordingly, of course, Jack Royston isn't going to point that out, but it's important to make this distinction. Of course, in Harry's wife's world, she sits there thinking, they're always nice to her, but they're horrible to me. She went to a vigil. She went to a memorial, and so did I. But I get panned for it, but she doesn't. See how everybody's horrible to me, and doles it out as a pity play. But as I've just picked it apart, there isn't any substance to it. Continuing with the article, New Royal Biography, The King, The Life of Charles III, says, Kate privately expressed some sympathy for Harry's wife's motivations. Anderson wrote, as strained as relations may have been between the Sussexes and the rest of the family, none of the senior royals stepped forward to criticise Harry's wife's decision to visit Uvalde. Well, they just adopted a position of silence, didn't they, which is the best thing to do with her. Charles and the Cambridges in particular were shaken by what had happened, a stark reminder that thousands of Americans were losing their lives to senseless gun violence every year. At one point, Kate told a friend that she understood why Harry's wife, as an American and the mother of 2 young children, would feel compelled to show up in person. That is Catherine exhibiting her emotional empathy towards Harry's wife, demonstrating, well, yes, I understand why she would go there. She probably also had her own observations that it was more self-serving, but exercised judicious silence in that regard. The article continues, it was in fact something Kate herself had done when she showed up unannounced the previous year at a candlelight vigil in London for a young woman who had been murdered by a police officer. The glaring difference was that Kate had not been subjected to the sort of blistering criticism now aimed at her American sister-in-law. And, of course, I've explained why that was. Harry's wife's visit to Uvalde, the article continues, in May 2022 sparked a debate about whether she was exploiting the tragedy for a PR stunt. At the time, her father, Thomas Markle, was in hospital after a stroke, and Harry's wife had not gone to visit him. Journalist Dan Wooten wrote in a column for Mail Online, "Family comes before anything else for me. So, like many others, I find it unimaginable that Harry's wife travels the length of the country for a tacky photo opportunity at the site of the Uvalde school shooting, possibly with Netflix reality show cameras in tow, but not drive 3.5 hours down the road to see her stricken dad in hospital, who is recovering from a life-threatening stroke that has cruelly stolen his speech." Harry's wife's half-brother, Thomas Markle Jr., told Wooten's GB News TV show it probably most likely was a PR stunt, judging by the cameras there and the little walk she did like she was on a stage. It just didn't make any sense. If she wanted to reach out to my father, she's had every opportunity. Anderson wrote, critics wasted no time suggesting that Harry's wife should have visited her seriously ill father rather than travel to Uvalde to stage what Harry's wife's half-brother Thomas Jr. slammed as a PR stunt. Now, of course, I have explained why there is the difference in the responses. And, of course, this article is an indirect pity play on behalf of Harry's wife in order to say, see, my Nemesis doesn't get anywhere near the level of pelters that I do. But it backfires, because what does it do? It draws attention to what she did in the first place with regard to Uvalde 6 months ago. It doesn't stack up for the reasons that I've elucidated. And let's see below the line whether anybody accepts that there is unfavourable treatment or whether they make a distinction. SRI writes, Catherine lives in London. The event protest vigil happened in London. And the police asked crowds not to come out to show the solidarity, so women in London went to the vigil as an act of defiance to show their disapproval at the police. So Catherine went to show she is with the rest of the women. She did not charter a private jet with her personal photographers to go to a different state to show her respects. Harry's wife, on the other hand, flew in a private jet with a full crew to place flowers for what? No celebrity living in and around Texas went there either, not even those with kids, because they know that was not the time and place. The whole world shows solidarity to the parents of those little ones. Harry's wife has no point to prove. So let's be honest and call it what it is, a publicity stunt by an attention-hungry, low-life actress. Macaroni. None of the royals ever stepped forward to comment on controversial matters. Kate took a short walk from her home in Kensington Palace and anonymously laid flowers. A fellow mourner recognised her and snapped her. Harry's wife flew 4 hours on a private jet to Uvalde and brought a team including photographers to capture the moment. She attempted to enter the school but was prevented by security as it was still a crime scene. She has no boundaries when it comes to self-promotion. Tutor Castelli. Stop lying. It's apple and oranges. Harry's wife did it for PR purposes, especially since her being a mom is highly questionable. And Princess Kate went at night, didn't bring a camera crew and didn't make it known to the world that she was going. She went for personal reasons because she walked those streets at night alone. Many times before marriage, Harry's wife did it to jump on yet another bandwagon. You cannot compare the two women or the situations. Jackie. Wow. Harry's wife's PR is out in full force. This article is complete bull. The senior royals never speak about Harry's wife, so them not speaking about Uvalde does not mean they supported her. I am 100% sure Catherine did not say she understood. I'm sure the Princess of Wales would not waste her time commenting on this vile attention seeker. Harry's wife's Uvalde publicity stunt was the lowest of the low, period. Unforgivable and disgusting. The public will never forget she used a national tragedy involving children from a photo op, which is exactly what it was. Her PR trying to compare this with Catherine's attendance at Sarah's vigil is false equivalency and laughable. Catherine and Sarah are from the same neighbourhood. She did not bring in a camera crew or notify anyone she was coming. Harry's wife had nothing to do with Uvalde, emitted tons of emissions to fly private over to Texas, brought her photographers, and made sure she got publicity for it. No other celebrity would stoop so low. Annette. Austin Women's Painting raises $22,000 for Uvalde playground equipment. How much did the Archwell Foundation contribute? Provide receipts, please. Senoir replies to that. Banana cake and Starbucks cards. ACG. So this Anderson thinks Harry's wife's visit to Uvalde would look less obscene if he inserts Kate in the picture. Nope. Try again. Macaroni. It's another attempt to paint Harry's wife as a victim, i.e. she gets criticised for doing the same things Kate does, except she isn't doing the same things. Instead of serving the community as the royals do, she is constantly self-serving. Julie. Visit was critiqued by the same old same and has no relevance on Harry's wife, whose foundation inaugurated a park for grieving families a few weeks ago. As for Kate, this is way too late and hard to believe. Zara. Harry's wife spotted at Uvalde by reporters and photographers already there taking pictures of the memorial. She was accompanied by one bodyguard. Harry replies to that. There is footage of her leaving the area with her own photographer and film guy. Clearly, there's a couple of people in there trying to support her, but quite simply, most of the people in the comments section recognise that it is no comparison. Indeed, it might even be suggested that the Princess of Wales didn't say anything about understanding why Harry's wife went, and that might even also be another PR fabrication by Harry's wife in an attempt to think that she's got the Princess of Wales on side. Why? Well, have a listen to the next video that's coming up after this one. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.